Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is Noah Kellman, and I am here to teach you everything that I know about playing the piano, including how to get such a nice sound out of a keyboard or the computer. So a lot of you on my channel have been asking me what plugins I'm using, what software I'm using, and how I'm able to produce such a nice sound for my videos, and also even in some of my demo recordings and things like that. So today I'm going to teach you all of my absolute best tricks, show you the software I'm using, and this is also going to be partially a review of a plugin called Pianoteq, because that is essentially my piano plugin of choice currently. Just so you know, I did get this plugin for free to try it out and see if it was something I would want to use more regularly. The company that makes it is called ModArt, but it's really important for you to know that there is absolutely no requirement for me whatsoever to say nice things about it or even leave a positive review here in this video. So I'm going to give you my unfiltered thoughts about the plugin and tell you why I do choose to use it, and you've probably heard it in a lot of my videos. So I think this will be a really useful tutorial to all of you, especially as we live in such a digital world today. Hopefully you will enjoy it. Really quick, if you are new to my channel, please consider clicking subscribe and the little bell to turn on notifications so you don't miss any more very useful, I hope, videos just like this one. Also, if you tend to like my content, then I appreciate you just smashing that like button because that really helps me out. All right, let's dive right into it. All right, so right here on the screen, we have Pianoteq. That is what you actually heard in the intro of this video. All right, so I'm going to set this to straight out of the box how this sounds. So let's go to the first sound that you will get, the Grand Steinway D classical. And that's going to sound like this. So I've actually used this sound for a lot of my videos. I really like how these are spatialized, especially this one. So this is really pretty, but let's actually take a look at this plugin, right? So if you're someone who likes to just turn something on and just play it, then this is a great place to start. If you don't want to edit anything, then that's perfectly fine. In fact, the one I would recommend you use is the following. Let's go over to the Grand Steinway D, but the jazz setting. This is my favorite setting that we have here. It just feels so close, so intimate. Speaking of that stereo field, I absolutely love this. So responsive. That's probably one of the most interesting things about this plugin, is how responsive it is. And let me talk a little bit about why that might be, why it might be more responsive than other pianos that you might be used to. So Pianoteq is a modeled piano. So what does that mean? It means that we're actually using a lot of elements of synthesis to build the sound. I mean, honestly, it's beyond me. I'm sorry, that's probably a horrible description of what modeling is, but we're kind of building the ground from the sound up, and that gives us incredible control because we can essentially program the piano to sound certain ways. And rather, I should say the developers, ModArt, can program this piano to have all sorts of different functionality. Whereas if this were a sampled instrument, an instrument in which they record a real piano over and over in order to get all different tones and sounds and then apply them to each note, if this were a sampled instrument, we would have a lot more limitations. We couldn't just kind of update and send new ways of hearing the piano and send new sustain pedal functionality, etc., right? We would only have what we recorded. That's part of what makes this plugin so special. There is so much that we can do, so much we can edit and customize. So right off the bat, we open up this plugin, and to be honest with you, right, I don't even know enough about the instrument itself to understand what all of this is, but some of it is intuitive. So the tuning, right? Do we want our piano to be set to 440 Hertz? I mean, that's amazing. A lot of different orchestras might tune different ways. We might want to use a different tuning for some reason. I mean, this is so cool that we can do this. We could set it to different tuning temperaments. I mean, let's just try one here. Let's try Zarlino. I don't even know what this is. Wow. Wow, that is really interesting. So you might have uses for stuff like this. I could really see myself using this, for example, for something lo-fi maybe, an interesting little tuning like this. And so you have so many presets in this plugin, it's really quite incredible. You can detune here. I mean, look at this. And let's do some detuning here, flat, sharp, whatever we want. I mean, talk about control, right? I mean, that's really, really cool. Now, let's get away from this. I'm gonna just reload this sound back to the preset. All right, so now let's take a look at this voicing tab. Check this out. These are some of my favorite settings here. We can actually affect the hammer hardness. You can hear how that affects the tone a bit. And hammer noise, I think, is really, really cool. Listen to that. You can actually hear the hammer noise, and it gives you a certain level of realism. I mean, how cool is that? Let's go over to design. I'm going to bring the hammer noise back down a bit. Now, all right, we can change string length. Very interesting. Now, I should be honest with you all. I don't play with this stuff that much in most cases, but there are these fringe cases where I'm working on some kind of a produced track and I do want to play with these things and get an interesting sound. And in those cases, this plugin opens up a whole world of possibility. But even if you're someone who just wants that basic sound, I think it's a really great option because as you yourself heard, it sounds really quite wonderful. So let's go back here and let us try some other things out. So again, I'm going to go back to the preset here. And by the way, we're not even talking about the different potential presets that we have here. I'm going to X out of that. So this is nice, closing that. We also have some really great control down in this output panel. So if you're ever playing a keyboard that doesn't have as much velocity sensitivity, so this one's really beautiful. It's a Roland. I honestly think this might be my favorite key bed that I've personally played. And it's, this keyboard costs, you know, literally like a sixth of what my Nord costs. And actually, it's really a quiet key bed. Sorry, now I'm getting into the piano, but I told you I would tell you all my tricks. This one is a Roland FPX 30. Beautiful. Now I'm talking about the key bed of the piano, so this is not the plugin that I'm using. But let's actually now take a look. If you had less velocity sensitivity, sometimes you'll start playing and even when you play soft, it sounds really hard. So you can actually change the velocity as I just did in the app. So now my max velocity is set to 75 here instead of 127. So everything's really soft. That's pretty much the hardest I can play. That almost sounds like a soft pedal, right? Really, really nice. So that's an interesting thing to do. Putting it back to normal, we have mallet bounce. And the cool thing about this is that I have no idea what it does whatsoever. So I'm just being honest about that. But it's another thing to play around with. And you know, realistically, right, I am someone who should probably learn what all these things are. I would love to do that, but at the same time, I don't feel like I always have time to do that. So I do really want piano sounds that sound great out of the box. This plugin, again, gives you both options. You can see you've got 4 different pedals here that you can actually hook up. You have delay, EQ, and reverb modules. If you right-click, you get all of these different presets. I'm not going to go through all these. These are just things that you could play with, but there's so much interesting stuff. I mean, let's try this one reverb and see how it sounds. So of course, these are all things that you could actually do, you know, using an actual reverb plugin, but it's so cool that you have all of this within this plugin. So now I want to actually get into some of the other instruments and presets. So this is by far my favorite one, the Steinway D, and you have all these different presets of the Steinway D. I'm not going to go through every single one. It's just way too much, right? Here's like a honky-tonk setting. Very cool. Let's check out some of the other instruments though. Check this out. We've got a vintage MK2 here. Let's just choose room close mic. Honestly, a beautiful sound. All right, continuing on here. So clearly, beautiful electric piano sounds. We've got vibes here. Let's check these out. So that's the mute setting here. Let's try another one. Let's try just this first one. Trying to get a little noir there. I don't know if I succeeded. So that's pretty cool. You know, that's not something I would use maybe all that much, but then we have other instruments here as well. Celesta. This one for me, really important. I love using celesta in my compositions. Really a beautiful celesta sound. That is my current celesta sound of choice. And we have marimba, we have kalimba, and we have just more pianos that we can experiment with. So pianos for different use cases, right? Awesome, right? So I don't know if that would necessarily be my piano of choice for even a rock song or whatever, a pop song. But the point being, you just have so much versatility in this application, in this software. Now let's get back to the meat and butter. So for me, how do I use this? Probably about 95% of the time. I open it up, I put it on one of those first two settings with the New York Steinway D. And voila. We get these beautiful sounds. Okay, so now let's go into Google Chrome here and let's take a look at the pricing of Pianoteq. All right, so the cool thing is ModArt is often making updates to this product. So let's take a look at the different pricing here. So you can actually get this for just $150. I mean, that's great. It includes 2 instrument packs I see here. Obviously, you should go to the website here, modartwith2ts.com, and you can check this stuff out for yourself. But you get some really, really fantastic things. So for someone who really only needs the bare minimum, right? For someone even like me who maybe is going to 95 to 99% of the time just want a beautiful sounding piano, the amazing thing is you can come in here and for a very reasonable price, frankly, do 150 bucks, right? That is awesome. It shows you the different instrument packs down here. I believe what you can do is you can actually maybe choose those packs. Don't quote me on that, but it says to be selected later during registration. And that is just awesome. So you can really get so much here for a very reasonable price. On the other hand, of course, if you do feel like you would need all of the different sounds, I think that it's a really, really great value, getting all of the different pianos, all of the functionality, all of the different instruments, right? If you use those sounds regularly, and honestly, I actually do use them fairly regularly. In fact, I said 95% of the time I just use the piano sound as is out of the box, but the other sounds I actually use probably a lot more. So I almost 100% of the time, if I need a celesta or I need a marimba or a kalimba, I will go into Pianoteq. And so that is just an awesome addition. Now, there's one more thing that I always do just to add a little bit of butter to my piano sounds. And I use this with Pianoteq now, and I also use it when I'm using other piano sounds. And that is, I add on the Waves CLA 2A plugin. Looks like this. I don't really want it compressing much, honestly. It's more about something that I can't describe, which I admit could be placebo, but I don't think it is, that just kind of opens up the sound a little bit and makes it really nice. So I'm going to play for you with this off. And now I'm going to turn it on. This is one of my little tricks. I think by running it through the algorithm here that's replicating an old LA2A, there's something special that happens. So that is one of my little buttery tricks. Now, there is another thing I would like to do in this video. I want to show you another trick that I have. So this is actually a much simpler plugin that I'm going to show you here. We've got the Grandeur, if it loads, there we go, by Native Instruments. And this comes incomplete. I have it because it was incomplete. And there are actually times when I prefer this plugin to Pianoteq. It's really simple right out of the box. As far as I know, it is a sampled piano. It actually sounds really, really nice. There are a lot of other piano plugins that I don't particularly love. I'm actually going to turn this up a little bit in the compressor so it matches the volume of Pianoteq more. Let's see here. So here we go, right? This is actually a beautiful sounding plugin. Really beautiful sounding piano. And so obviously you have so much less control with this, but I'm not gonna lie, there are times when I actually prefer the sound of this plugin, especially when I'm actually doing kind of a jazz mock-up. There are times where this, because of the way it's recorded, the sound field, the specific brightness, seems to just fit right into my mock-ups, fit right into my jazz recordings in this way that is just really, really natural. And sometimes I'm not able to quite get there with Pianoteq. Don't ask me why. So it's really interesting for solo piano or for my videos. These days, I really highly prefer Pianoteq. I love what I can do with it. I love the other instruments. But when I'm putting together something with other instruments, sometimes this just cuts through really nicely. So depending on the sounds you prefer, you might actually prefer this one. Now what I will let you know is that the responsiveness of Pianoteq, you don't quite get that responsiveness here. You definitely feel a little bit less like you're playing a real instrument just in terms of the feeling of hitting these notes in comparison to Pianoteq. So that's something to keep in mind, but it is subtle and it doesn't really bother me all that much. And like I said, I honestly prefer this plugin sometimes. The cool thing about Pianoteq is for more or less the same price, I believe this plugin's around $150 or maybe when it's on sale, you know, more or less the same price range. You can get this or you can get, you know, a couple different instruments in Pianoteq. And the difference is with Pianoteq, you know, you have so much control. But there are some things you can do with this one as well. So you can kind of see we've got this reverb here. You can make the tone a little bit softer or harder. Regardless, you know, this is another one of my favorites. And with this LA2A on, this was actually my preferred sound for a really long time, having even used different piano plugins. This was my preferred sound. So if you go back to some of my older videos from even just a couple of years ago, you will hear the grandeur in there with this LA2A compressor, and it sounds really, really nice too. And some of you used to ask me back then even how I got my really nice piano sound. And let's just go back to Pianoteq for a second here. So they're both really, really nice sounds. The speed of the response, there's just something special about Pianoteq. I feel like I immediately get the response. There's actually just a quicker, more realistic response for me here. Next step would be I would actually bounce out the sound directly from the MIDI, make a nice wave file, and put that against the video. That is how I get such a beautiful sound. And when I'm actually performing, I will use one of these two. If I'm not playing a real acoustic piano, I will use one of these two sounds to get my piano sound, and absolutely love how they sound. So Pianoteq, who is this for? In my opinion, it is for someone who, number one, really likes the sounds that it comes with, especially that Steinway D that I was showing you, which I find to be the best for jazz piano in general. That's obviously the most important thing. Do you like the sound of that piano? Everyone has different preferences. Some people love a Yamaha, some people love a Steinway. And the next thing to think about is, are you someone who needs that level of control and variability? If you are, then Pianoteq is an absolute no-brainer. But frankly, the fact that you can get a simpler version for $150 is incredible, right? You just get less sounds. But for someone who just needs the original sound and that's it, what a great way of getting it. And then of course, if you like what I did with the little CLA2A, that is a Waves plugin. So yeah, I definitely recommend that as well. I love the combo. So that is it for today. So generally speaking, would I recommend Pianoteq? Absolutely. I use it in my videos. If you like how my piano sounds in my videos, then that gives you a really nice idea of, you know, whether or not you might like Pianoteq as well. All right, thank you so much. Thanks again to Pianoteq for sending it over. I've really been enjoying it. And it's become an absolute essential part of my workflow. So I absolutely would not be saying any of this if I did not stand by the product, and I do. And I can also tell you that the communication with ModArt has been incredible. They get back to me quickly. It's really easy to reach them. So that's, for me, that's always a really important thing. It's a small company as far as I know. They specialize in these piano plugins. And yeah, they're just great. My experience has been great. I love using these sounds in my videos. So I hope also that honestly this video helps out ModArt, because they're a great company and they make great products. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you found this review helpful and you learned anything about my piano sounds that was useful to you, please be sure to hit the like button. That really helps me out. And also, if you are just stopping by this channel for the first time, please consider clicking subscribe and the bell to turn on notifications so you don't miss any more videos just like this one. And actually, not just like this one, most of my videos are more about specific piano techniques and jazz piano and improvisational techniques. So be sure to peruse the channel if you haven't already. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.